Well, folks, welcome. Welcome to Radio Mercy, and we are the Triangle Region's largest South Asian radio station, and we're aired on 99.9 FM HD4, 101.9 FM Durham, and 1490 AM. And for the first 12 minutes, we'll be with you, or 10 minutes, with the mayor of Holly Springs. And today we're talking about bullying because we're wrapping up Bullying Prevention Month, Awareness Month. And so, Mayor, welcome virtually to what I call, like the Hamilton song, the Zoom where it happens. In the Zoom where it happens.
Glad to be here.
Great to see you. So we're honored to have you here. And real quickly, I'm just going to ask you before we get into bullying, if you could just give us a little bit about what's been going on in Holly Springs during the pandemic and how things have been going for you guys the last 7-8 months.
Sure. Well, the pandemic has been tough for everybody. Been tougher for some than others. In our case, we're relatively fortunate in that we've had, I think the last I looked, and that was Friday, we've had 531 cases, but only one death. That's an unfortunate death, but still, I think our people are on the program. I think they're wearing masks, they're washing their hands, they're staying 6 feet apart. And as I told you before we started this Zoom, that I look at the cars going by town hall, and I would say half of them have their masks on in the car. So maybe that's one of the reasons why we're doing so well. It is something that we're not looking forward to getting any worse, but at the same time, we're also very cautious. So I think the point being, don't overreact. I've got some of my friends who stay in their house since March. That's overreaction, in my opinion, although I understand it because they have conditions. But at the same time, life goes on. And I'm not saying open up everything, but life goes
on. Excuse me. Yeah, life does go on. And on that note, for those of you chiming in, we probably there are some questions about small business and that stuff, but we're going to wait until the end of the show, or maybe after. We're going to have about 10 minutes with you just virtually with our social media platforms, Fireside Chat with Holly Springs Mayor. So tell us a little bit about bullying, okay? For those listening, you and I are leaders, and you're the chair, but I could share a lot of stuff with you, the Mayors Against Bullying.
Sure.
Talk to me about what motivated you as an elected official to address bullying and why you think it's such an important issue for us to address as community leaders.
Well, point A is it's much more prevalent than most people know. What started me on it was when I was in the 3rd grade. This is BC. I was bullied on the playground with a big guy who should have been in 6th grade, and he beat me up pretty good a couple of times. So I got 2 of my friends who were smaller than he was and me, and we returned the favor. You can't do that anymore, but that did put me in a position to say, someday if I can stop or help stop bullying, whatever I can do to do that, I want to do it. And that's what we've been doing for the last 12, 13 years here in Holly Springs. We have a group of very, very interesting people who are involved in this anti-bullying process. We have bracelets, we have meetings, we have shows, we have all these kind of things. Of course, you and I have been talking about doing one in Morrisville.
Yeah, we were going to do it before COVID, but maybe we can do it after.
It makes it a little tough now. Yeah.
Well, we were actually thinking, folks, about doing a virtual one. So Mayor and I are going to talk offline about that.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that.
Do a virtual one. So, So Mayors Against Bullying. We only have a few minutes with you on the radio, but we're going to continue. So, sure. Mayors Against Bullying. What is the purpose of the organization, and when did you start it, and what are some of the things that you've done over the years that you're proudest of?
Well, we started, as I said, probably 12 to 13 years ago. The purpose is you can't stop bullying. It's like speeding. You can't stop speeders. You can do everything you can as a mayor, but you can never stop speeding in your town. As far as bullying is concerned, we can reduce the amount of bullying, and we can also help the people who have been bullied. That can take place right here in my office, matter of fact, with many really, kids who have come in with their parents who have been bullied, to the point where in some cases they were really very distraught. And I remember what I always tell them, especially the kids that are maybe 12, 15, 13 in that area, you are an important person. You are not alone. A lot of the people who are bullied, a lot of kids particularly who are bullied, think they're the only ones that have ever been bullied. And when they find out that they're not alone, it helps. Doesn't cure, but it helps. And then tell them again, don't interact with a bully. If you get bullied, you can do several things, but one of them is don't do anything except walk away. You can do the garbage can deal where you say, this is my garbage can. You take your words, throw them in the garbage can, you walk away, you don't say anything. And it works too. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And again, it's a process that can go on forever. I've heard of bullies with adults who've had their parents bully them on very rare occasions, but there's a piece of it. So it's not just kid to kid. But if you really want to think about bullying, it's something that can be, so you say, reduced in proximity to the numbers. I think we're doing a good job of that. As I say, we all wear our bullying bracelets. You've got one, I'm sure. And
yeah, I'm wearing my purple today. That's why I'm always color coordinated. So I have the appropriate. So I threw on purple, and that's Liz Johnson's favorite color. So when she sees me virtually tonight, she'll be,
well, purple's kingly, you know.
What?
Purple is kingly.
Oh, there you go.
See that?
So what are the so we got a few more minutes with you before we go into just a couple minutes of just on the social media.
Okay.
What are the so we've had experts in the past through Mayors Against Bullying come in and speak. We've had we work with the youth programs. You demonstrate at the farmers market. We've been there together. So what are the different programs that you were doing before COVID? And I guess right now things have been sort of on a standstill, but could you just highlight for folks, if they wanted to know about how to get involved, how they can reach out and get involved with Mayors Against Bullying? If they're a parent, if they're a student, if they're a teacher.
Sure. The easiest way to get involved is just let me know or Steve know. Give me your name, how I get a hold of you, your telephone number. We would always welcome anybody and everybody who wants to be a part of this. You don't have to be an expert. You learn as you go, and we've learned as we've gone. As I say, I think that we have had presentations to schools, presentations to the academies, internal presentations around here. We've talked to a lot of people, a lot of kids. And I think we made some progress, is I guess where I'm going here. Progress is what our most important project. But you can't stop bullying, but it is very prevalent. When I see a little girl come into my office crying with her parents, who's been bullied, and by the time she leaves, she's smiling, that makes me feel good.
Do you think kids that were bullied can become bullied as adults?
Once in a while, I think that happens. I'll give you an example of a man. I won't tell you what he does. But he's an adult. He was separated from his father for 40 years because his father bullied him. Whether or not his father was bullied, probably, I would guess. But bullying is just one of those things where usually it takes place when a kid is not being recognized, or a kid wants attention, or a kid wants to show how tough he is, or her. It could be a her or a him, it doesn't matter. We've had both. I do remember one story though to share. I was told about and usually the SROs, the school resource officers, or the teachers, or the principals can be a great help with these things if they're handled right. I got a call from a parent whose kid was bullied by a certain kid. So I called the teacher who knows this kid. And the teacher said, well, you got to know something else about this kid. He not only bullies, but he's been bullied. And that's part to your point. That's part of the whole thing is sometimes if you get bullied, then you bully back. And that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Walk away. Don't do anything.
Final question before we let you go to the radio. We're going to keep you on until about 4:30.
Okay.
So what do parents need to look? Well, cyberbullying is one concern. Social media is being used as bullying, where you get these anonymous. It's really hard for our kids. You know, so if a child is being bullied, what is the best strategy for a parent? How do they look for signs? Do they just tell their kids to be open and honest? Don't be afraid if you've had an incident at school, or do they give you your device? What have you been hearing from these experts?
Usually we'd say this, that the parent can usually tell if the kid is being bullied, especially because they will come home, they'll cry, they'll be upset, they'll do this, they'll do that. The signs of bullying is a kid who takes his head like this and talk to him, don't look at you in the eye. But a parent should tell the kid, keep us informed. Let us know if we can ever help you. You are not alone. And you can do the same things that I do. You're not alone. You're important to me. And the parent should make sure that the kid is important to them, not just to say that. And if a kid isn't important, if a kid is not recognized as part of the family, which sometimes has happened, this kid could be in big trouble, being bullied. So I think that's the whole story there, pretty much.
Well, folks, we're gonna continue with our fireside chat on the social media platforms, but we want to thank Dick Sears for being with us. If you want to learn about Mayors Against Bullying, you can just Google it, find the Facebook site, get in touch with the mayor and I. You can go to Holly Springs website, shoot him an email. Final question: if you had one exciting thing, since you're a Wake County mayor, one exciting thing about Holly Springs, what would it be for people to know that before we get off the radio today?
When I first came here in '95, we really didn't have much of a town, as it relates particularly to commercial development, almost nothing. I had to go to Cary, nothing wrong with Cary, didn't mean it that way, to do everything. I decided before I became mayor that if I ever became mayor, I would try very hard to make this a town where you didn't have to leave unless you wanted to, for anything. Our hospital is going to open in a year. We're almost there. 8 stories. That's probably one of my most exciting things, a full-fledged Rex hospital.
Wow, that's exciting. And I know Steve Burris at Rex. He's from Charleston, West Virginia, where I grew up.
Yeah, that's right.
And Gary Park, the CEO of UNC, is from Charleston, West Virginia. And John Chambers, who hosted my virtual startup summit, the former CEO of Cisco, is from West Virginia. So it's just West Virginia love all around. But yeah, I'm sure that I'll see Steve Burris and Gary at the ribbon cutting.
Yeah, Steve is now promoted to what I call the Grand Poobah of UNC, and we have our own people now in Rex here. So he's over in Chapel Hill now, and he's over the whole bunch, if you might say it that way.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, which I think is perfect. I love Steve. Great guy.
Well, folks, we'll be back next week for another edition of Radio Murchie, and we're the Triangle region's largest South Asian and Indian American radio station. So we're going to continue on with our fireside chat just for a few minutes. Just to digress a little bit from bullying, just for a second. This is a question I would love to just get your input on: is how affected, how concerned are you about the impact of this pandemic on your existing small businesses? Because the last memory I have of Holly Springs was going to the parade with you and seeing about a year, last Christmas,
right,
and seeing just the vibrant downtown that was emerging in Holly Springs. But are your mom and pops having a hard time, or are they going to be okay? And if they're not okay, where are they going to get resources? Are they going to Wake Forward? Are they going to these different programs out there, PPP? Of course, paycheck.
Well, there's several answers to that question. It's not one answer. First of all, our small businesses, to my knowledge, not one of them has had to close so far. We're very recognizable, shall we say, of their tough time. However, across the street, I'm looking out the window right now, we have a small business who has I've even helped them put down the 6-foot signs on floor, this and that. But the real issue here is they have needed to stay open, number one, which they have. Number two, with some constrictions, which they have. But number three, we have an angel fund that is pretty much regulated by the Chamber of Commerce. And I think the town, if I'm correct on this, I think the town has contributed $15,000 to that
Fantastic.
angel fund. And then the small businesses will sign for and ask for contributions. And we've been doing that now for about 6 months. And I think right
Okay.
now we're in pretty good shape. Some of them are the restaurants are doing outside and inside, or just outside. But I think our small businesses are not doing as well as they'd like to be, but not doing bad enough to have to close. They're hanging on, and we want them to hang on because we very much appreciate our small business background here.
Well, I mean, that's great. And the angel fund, before we get back to bullying, the
Yeah.
angel fund, so that was fascinating. I'm going to take back that to Morrisville. We just hired a new president of the chamber in Morrisville. But so the angel fund was companies would contribute to this fund. And then the town of Holly Springs gave in some money. And
Right.
then there must be a committee that's selecting which businesses would get the grant, the
Out of the
loans.
chamber, it is out of the Chamber of Commerce. The town or me, we do not select the businesses to do it. They will come to the chamber. They will make their presentation. They will fill out a form. They'll say why they need the money and what they're going to use it for. And then the chamber will make the final decision on where this money goes. I can't tell you exactly how much money has been filtered through the angel fund so far, but I'm going to guess it's over $50,000-$60,000 and probably more.
Wow.
So we recognize it. They know.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And also we stay in touch. That's
Yeah,
why
you also-
I think we've not had one closing that I can think of.
There's also the Wake Forward program, which is a great program
Right.
for businesses. And then there's, Paycheck Protection Program and all kinds of programs. So it's quite exciting what's going on. And hopefully, people want to learn about it. We might reach out to you. So as we get into bullying, before we've got a few more minutes with you,
Sure.
do you believe, putting on our hats as elected leaders, have you seen, and you're an independent now, you were a Republican, but you're very bipartisan, very across the aisle kind of mayor.
Correct.
And I am too. I think that's what we've always had in common. What do you believe that the environment of politics today is a form of bullying? When you see on both sides social media attacks, the kinds of things that are being said across, when you want, do you believe that this sets a bad example for our kids to see government like this? Not targeting only President Trump, just in general, everything, just the behavior.
Unfortunately, your answer is affirmative. Yes.
Okay. All
What's happening now on social media, and I can tell you firsthand, if someone thinks that you're for, let's just take Trump as an example. If you put a Trump sign up here, it gets stolen. A lot of the Joe Biden signs get stolen. And if people find that you are like one or the other, particularly if you're a Trump person, I've seen Facebooks that are, you're a racist. That's bullying. I saw, for example, a man in town who had a Trump sign in his yard, and it was taken down, and he had a fairly new white car that had red paint on the side that said racist. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
bullying. There's bullying. It's
Yeah.
out of control.
I mean, I had an incident where, first of all, I have a connection to Joe Biden because I grew up in Delaware.
Sure.
And so the guy that's his chairman of his campaign, I met him, went to Washington, visited him in 2013, Steve Ricchetti. We had some mutual friends in Delaware. And then the school that I went to, I used to see Hunter Biden and Beau Biden. So I always had this connection, right? So, and I'm a supporter of Biden because we have some mutual, just being
Sure.
in Delaware, right? So I just put up an electoral map as, it was like predicting Biden would win. And I could not believe the kinds of things that were being said. And I had a guy get on there. He called me ignorant. He called me stupid. He said, I mean, and I said, first of all, my support of him has nothing to do with him being a Democrat or Trump being a Republican, and nothing I said was negative about Trump. It was just my opinion about the experience that he would bring to the office.
How
And that
well I
we need
know.
a new, yeah. And so, but it was amazing. So where I'm going with this as we end the interview is that, I think that the social media, in my opinion, has really, really made it easier for people to bully because they don't have to sign off on who they are. And to be honest with you, as an elected official, I have seen so much bullying over the social media. You know how it is when you're about to take a vote, terrible things, whatever. My wife will sometimes get it, not just about me, other council members, and she'll go, "What's going on here, man?" And it's usually two people that sound like 1,000, but it's the worst thing in the world when you open up your device and you see someone saying, "I hate you, I'm going to run you out of town,"
Yeah.
or "never going to vote for you again." And so I don't know what the answer is other than let's try to be respectful with each other. And even as citizens who are using these social media platforms, use it as a way to share. If you want me to learn something, share why, but don't just bash me down, right?
Well, unfortunately, Steve, when people do that as politicians, which I hate that word, I prefer public servants, but that's me. When you answer a question, say, "Well, I think I'm going to vote for Aaron Paret," and somebody from Sidney Batch's campaign says, "You're an idiot, you're stupid," just like you said. Or it can go the other way. It doesn't matter. There's no objectivity right now. I shouldn't say no. There's not much objectivity right now with people who have differing opinions than you do on who's they're going to vote for. That's objective, and they're not. It's just simply, and it can get really nasty, to the point where people now are buying guns. You know that. I know that, unfortunately, to protect themselves from riots and everything else. The whole country is just kind of out of sync right now, and it's time that we put it back together. And it's easy to say, but hard to do.
So folks, we've been talking about bullying. So just a couple of wrap up items. We are Mayors Against Bullying. If you want to get involved, we're going to be doing some virtual stuff, probably in Morrisville in the new year after the elections. If you see bullying, go out to reach out to this organization. If you're concerned about it, work with your community to stop it. Tell your kids to be open about it. And even if you're an adult and you feel like you're bullied, come and share with us. We can take those words and throw it in the trash can. I like that.
It works. You got to make the trash can first, and then throw it in like that.
Hey, there you go. So you talked about business, Holly Springs. Anything else exciting going on as we wrap up the year that you'd like people to know about Holly Springs?
Well, things are exciting here. As I said, when I first moved here, we were about 3,000 people. And I go back to my making a town, or help making a town, not me personally, but part of it. A town you don't have to leave until you want, unless you want to. There's a new development coming down now, and my moniker for re-election has always been the same. If it's good for the kids, it's good for Holly Springs, and I believe that, and try to practice that. Carolina Springs is a new development. A lot of houses. We're talking motels, we're talking hotels, we're talking movie theaters. But what I'm most excited about is a 3-level iceplex. A 3-level iceplex. It'll be a while, takes a while, but this will have one level will be practice for ice skates, one will be for figure skating, and one will be for hockey. And when I talk to kids around here, and I'm sure it's the same thing in Morrisville, do you practice? Yeah. Where do you go? Raleigh. What kind of practice time do you have? Oh, it's fine. What time of the day? 4 a.m. in the morning. Really? I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
So we're going to hopefully have that taken care of in a year or so.
Well, that's great. And that's great. We have our own weight competition center in Morrisville where the Carolina Hurricanes train. They just ended up their season there. And it's beautiful. They have a gymnastics, they have soccer, they got a huge iceplex. So we would love for you to come and visit. And we are number 10 in Money Magazine. As you can see there, I'm putting my number 1 sign there, but we're on our way to become number 1. And that's our new banner that when you walk into Morrisville, really nice. Yeah, new branding and everything. So,
But
well, Mayor, thank you so much for being with
one
us.
last thing,
Yeah, please,
real quick.
please.
Holly Springs still remains, after probably 9 or 10 years, the safest town to live in North Carolina, documented by various places. And I'm very proud of that for our people. They've worked hard. And if a town isn't safe, not much going on good. There are towns that are almost as safe, but we are number one and have been. Proud of that.
Well, that's really great. I mean, we're excited, and it's a great town. And I know people are playing cricket there. We didn't talk about Ting Park. People are playing tennis there, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I think it's a great county. So be safe, folks. And a quick announcement: we did get a COVID case in our new Morrisville Aquatic Center with the huge pool. It's a beautiful facility. So there was someone in the aerobics class that was diagnosed with COVID-19, and they shut the facility down for
Yep.
deep cleaning, and they hope to be open back up tomorrow. So this is something that we're going to hear. So if you all come in touch with someone with COVID-19, please go out, get tested, isolate yourself. And if you have any symptoms, please don't go anywhere, because you put someone else at risk. So thank you, Mayor Sears. It's an honor to have you, and
Thanks.
keep up the great work in Holly Springs, and I'll be in touch on some other stuff for next week.
Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
Talk to you
it.
soon. Yeah.
Have a good.